Man City had to stop at the quarterfinals of this season's Champions League after losing to Real Madrid in a penalty shootout. Missed chances in the match and ultimately a missed opportunity to make history. The citizens were on their way to replicating last season's treble, and at times, it seemed this was very close. Pep Guardiola's team took the lead in the Premier League after Arsenal and Liverpool's defeats. They also reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup and had a slight advantage over Real Madrid in the Champions League, against a team that had won the Champions League 14 times. Man City played better over the two legs, especially at home, completing 424 passes in the final third compared to Real's 38. Additionally, Man City took 33 shots in 120 minutes, surpassing Real Madrid's 8 shots. Real did not get a single corner kick until midway through extra time. From the first half onward, it seemed like Carlo Ancelotti was considering the possibility of a penalty shootout. Bernardo Silva and Mateo Kovacic missed their penalty kicks for Man City, but the missed chances were the most regrettable aspect. Phil Foden should have done better with 2 unsuccessful attempts. Kevin De Bruyne also shot over the crossbar at the end of the match. Haaland's first-half header was just a bit off target to become a goal, and he also missed the last opportunity of the match by shooting over the bar in injury time. Surprisingly, Man City's 2 most critical attacking players were unexpectedly substituted. Haaland made way for Julian Alvarez in the 91st minute, while De Bruyne left the field for Mateo Kovacic 8 minutes before the penalty shootout began. Initially, it seemed like these were Pep's tactical adjustments, but that wasn't the case. Haaland and De Bruyne asked me to be subbed off. They couldn't continue in the match. What they showed was fantastic. I didn't plan to make this many substitutions, but they asked me to leave because they couldn't continue, explained Guardiola. Typically, there are 2 cases where players ask to be taken off. One is when they feel physically unable to continue, and the other is when they are injured. With Kevin De Bruyne, it might have been the first case. At age 32, after constant action from the start of the match, the Belgian playmaker's exit was understandable. He might have feared that if he played less intensely, Man City would be overwhelmed by Real Madrid. However, with Haaland, the story is harder to understand. On a day when he continued not to score, the stats were easily predictable for the striker. He had 21 touches and completed 5 passes. It's hard to attribute his substitution to fatigue, as he was replaced at the 91st minute, suggesting physical exhaustion wasn't the issue. If he had sustained an injury, Pep would have confirmed it, but he didn't. This made Haaland's early departure from the field seem more concerning, leading to criticism about his mental strength when faced with Rudiger's tight marking. Many fans felt he should have tried harder to score during extra time. Some suggest that if there aren't easy chances to score, Haaland would ask to be substituted for a rest. Some point to instances when the former Dortmund striker was angry at Pep for substituting him early, causing him to miss chances for hat tricks or poker. But even more seriously, many are questioning Haaland's quality. Has the number 9 been overestimated? However, let's agree that a player who has scored 83 goals in 92 matches across all competitions for Man City in the last 2 years can't be a poor player. Even in his first season with the Citizens, Haaland continuously broke scoring records, finishing the season with a magnificent treble. In October last year, fans started a petition to ban Haaland from matches, garnering 2 million signatures to prevent the Norwegian striker from playing. Erling Haaland seemed like an alien, stronger, taller, and faster than any previous striker. The Telegraph quoted a Premier League coach from last year. Why is Haaland criticized so much after just 1 season? Is he a scam by Man City? Actually, Haaland's skills haven't changed. He's still fast and strong like last season, but Haaland hasn't upgraded his skill set. We can sympathize with him because in every Man City match, he's the most tightly marked player. Even the opposing defenders are tasked with keeping an eye on Haaland at all times, but with more complete skills, he wouldn't be so faded in games. Lionel Messi started as a winger, but gradually developed outstanding skills like shooting, passing, and field awareness to become the most complete player. Cristiano Ronaldo was the most perfect striker, learning to shoot faster, stronger, and more accurately, and leaping higher to improve his heading ability. Even without comparing them to these 2 legendary players, there are many examples of self-improvement. Luis Suarez wasn't a top-tier player initially, but after a less effective period in the Premier League, the Uruguayan striker simplified his play and became an unstoppable force. Even at Man City, after Pep Guardiola took over, there was a complete transformation in Sergio Aguero. The key difference was running. Under Manuel Pellegrini, the Argentine striker would conserve energy for bursts of speed, resulting in an average distance covered during each match. However, after Guardiola arrived, Aguero began running continuously. Each match became an endurance test for the Argentine striker. No one could forget his 40-meter sprint to recover a lost ball after a mispass in the 75th minute of the 5-3 victory against AS Monaco on February 22, 2017. It was also the match where he successfully made 4 tackles, more than he'd done since 2014. This means that even if a striker doesn't score, there are other ways to contribute to the overall play through defense, running, and pressing. These expectations are almost mandatory for today's players, but Haaland seems to be overly pampered. When he doesn't have the ball, he barely moves, not entirely standing still and waiting for the ball, but contributing minimally to defensive efforts. In the match against Real Madrid, Haaland's performance was also overshadowed by a player considered his rival in the Ballon d'Or race, Jude Bellingham. Don't think the former Dortmund player only contributed to Rodrigo's opening goal. If you closely observe Bellingham, you'll see he ran like a beast throughout the match. He was aggressive in tackling and played a significant role in helping Real reduce the danger posed by Man City. Comparing him to Kylian Mbappe isn't even fair. In the match against Barca, the French striker scored a double, helping PSG make a successful comeback despite losing 2-3 in the first leg. If you examine the details, Bradley Barcola and Dembele were the 2 best performers on the field, with Mbappe scoring once from a penalty and once from a rebound. However, in the final Ballon d'Or race, nobody cares about these details. They only remember that Mbappe contributed to PSG's qualification to the semifinals, while Haaland was scared of Rudiger, to the point of asking to leave the field. Whether Haaland is pitiful or deserving of criticism is challenging to determine, but perhaps the Norwegian player should change his style. Haaland is in a strong team, so when playing in the domestic league against clubs in the lower half of the Premier League, he can manage. But when in Europe, playing against higher quality teams, much more is expected from him. If not, he will remain a small-time player in big matches.